Dreams are reborn, visions are revealed, and the Nigerian strength revived. Thus, the emergence of Nigerian youth in politics. This is the 2019 weekly, powered by Youngster Development Initiative with support from Ford Foundation. 2019 weekly, the voice of youth in politics.
In 2019 weekly, we bring you highlights of political happenings on election year.
These are the headlines. Female presidential candidate urges Atiku to step down. Youth reject party primaries, threaten to boycott polls. Senate President Bukola Saraki merges Atiku campaign director. APC remains barred from elections in Zamfara. INEC insists. INEC ECOWAS strategizes on reducing cost of election. INEC commences collection of PVCs. YALF semester 2 call for applications.
Female presidential candidate urges Atiku to step down for her. The presidential candidate of the MAJA party, Professor Mercy Fumilayo Adesanya Davis, has asked former vice president and presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, to step down. The female presidential aspirant said since her party and the PDP are members of Coalition of United Political Parties, CUPP, there is need for the emergence of a candidate for the coalition. Fronting the criteria of age and gender, she stated that it was indeed time for a woman youth academician ticket. She added that since men have failed Nigeria, a woman should be given the chance to emerge as the nation's next president and return it back to path of progress. I am prepared to give the political battle a feminine touch and strategy through which I expect to spring a surprise to win the presidential election by the grace of God when obliged by CUPP. Youth reject party primaries, threaten to boycott polls. A coalition of youth organizations across the country under the umbrella of the Not Too Young to Run movement has threatened to boycott the 2019 general elections, saying the recent primaries conducted by political parties were shams. The co-conveners, including the Program Manager, Youth Initiative for Advocacy, Growth and Advancement, IAGA Africa, lamented that the primaries were conducted with irregularities, including high cost of nomination forms, imposition, manipulations, exclusion and unjust screening out of aspirants, among others. They said these have threatened the expected gains of the participation of youth in the 2019 elections, and the youth, being the majority of registered voters, may boycott the elections to rob it of its legitimacy. Last week, in the same line, First Lady Aisha Buhari took to her Twitter handle to express her disappointment in the national chairman of the APC over the impunity and undemocratic processes rocking the party's state primaries. It is disheartening to note that some aspirants used their hard-earned money to purchase nomination forms, got screened, cleared, and campaigned vigorously, yet found their names omitted on election day.
INEC ECOWAS strategizes on reducing cost of election. Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) and the election management bodies of the Economic Community of West African States (ECOWAS) have commenced a 2-day workshop-tagged study on the cost of elections in the ECOWAS region to find ways to reduce the cost of conducting elections with the region. According to the chairman of the commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, the ever-rising cost of voter registration, provision of electoral logistics, deployment of sensitive and non-sensitive materials for elections, which call huge amounts of money, are critical issues that should be looked into so as to fashion out a way in the leaving credible polls that will not cost the country's huge amounts of money. On 2019 elections, Professor Yakubu stated that the Commission is doing the needful to ensure it delivers free, fair and credible elections that will be adjudged best by both Nigerians and the international community. Senate President Bukola Saraki merges Atiku campaign director. The People's Democratic Party has announced Senate President Bukola Saraki the head of his presidential campaign efforts. Saraki was handed the official position as the Director General of the Atiku Abubakar Presidential Campaign Organization, and this was disclosed on Tuesday morning by Kola Olobodingo, spokesperson of the People's Democratic Party (PDP). Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who was recently endorsed by his longtime rival Olusegun Obasanjo, was elected the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) earlier this month at the PDP National Convention in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. He defeated 11 other aspirants, including Senate President Saraki, to get the ticket, making him the main challenger to President Muhammadu Buhari in the 2019 general election. Following his victory, the presidential candidate announced a former governor of Anambra State, Peter Obi, as his running mate for the 2019 election. The Senate President, Bukola Saraki, would work with 6 others who would coordinate the 6 geopolitical zones. The zonal coordinators were announced as follows: Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal for Northwest, Ebonyi State Governor David Umahi for Southeast, Gombe State Governor Ibrahim Dankwabo for Northeast, River State Governor Yesom Wike for South-South, Benue State Governor Samuel Orcham for North Central, and former Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose would lead Southwest push. Still ahead.
APC remains barred from elections in Zamfara, INEC insists. The governing APC was declared ineligible by INEC to field candidates for all elective positions in Zamfara State in the 2019 general elections, having failed to meet the October 7 deadline for conducting primaries to elected candidates for the positions. Divisions within the state chapter of the APC prevented an INEC-supervised election from taking place for the governorship and legislative position. Governor Abdulaziz Yari of Zamfara last week claimed that all primary elections of the All Progressive Congress (APC) ahead of the 2019 general elections had been concluded in the state and results submitted to the party. However, Mr. Yari's declaration came at a time when Mr. Mustafa, the chairman of the APC committee mandated to conduct the primaries in the state, claimed that no election was held at all. Consequently, in a letter signed by INEC's acting secretary Okechukwu Ndeche and addressed to APC's national chairman Adams Oshiomhole, the commission said the party could no longer conduct any primary elections outside the originally stated window and would not be allowed to participate in any election except the presidential poll next year. Meanwhile, the APC had said it is not considering any legal option on the insistence of INEC to bar it from governorship, national and state assembly polls in Zamfara.
INEC commences collection of PVCs. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has commenced the receipt of PVCs for the first quarter continuous voters registration in 2018, which held from January 8 to March 22, 2018. The Commission urges Nigerians in the aforementioned group to visit INEC offices in the local governments from Monday 15 October to collect their PVC. Speaking at the ECOWAS Network of Electoral Commission (ECONEC) meeting held in Abuja on Monday, Chairman of the Commission Yakubu Dogara said, "We have printed the PVCs for those who registered in the first quarters of 2018. We are right now simultaneously printing for those who registered in the second and third quarters. We are looking at the end of November 2018 for all the PVCs to be printed, including requests for transfer and relocation."
YALF Semester 2 to kick off. The Young Aspirant Leadership Fellowship, an initiative of Youngsters Foundation in readiness for its Semester 2 workshop, has commenced its call for applications from youth candidates running for offices in the 2019 general elections. The project, which seeks to ensure youth participation in politics, will focus on topics on electioneering campaigns. They therefore encourage youths who have won their primary elections to apply via its website www.yalf.org. Let's hand out some accolades to YALF participants who emerged flag bearers and candidates for House of Representatives, House of Assembly and Senate on different political parties, including the People's Democratic Party, Social Democratic Party, National Rescue Movement, All Progressive Grand Alliance, People's Redemption Party, Labour Party, Alliance for New Nigeria, Fresh Party, New Progressive Movement, Alliance for Democracy, and others.
And that's our election yarn for the day. Share your thoughts on the news stories in the comment section and join us next time on 2019 Weekly. Do remember, the best time for you to run, win, and impact is now.